Hi guys, this is Abigail Barella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance. I wanted to come on here and do a little spring equinox leaven and really talk a bit about spring equinox, talk a bit about the astrology, and really check in with you guys, talk about some different things that I have going on and how you can really cultivate community and spiritual uplifting stuff at this time. So let's talk about, first of all, the power of the sun and how at the spring equinox, literally the thing that keeps us all going and the thing that keeps us all healthy and alive is coming into its power. It's coming into its exaltation in springtime. And as the days get longer and we start to feel that sun stronger, we're starting to come out of our shell a little bit. We're starting to interact with others a little bit. And really the seed from winter can start to bloom and blossom. And so not only is that in a physical sense, but also in a metaphysical sense. And we're starting to come out of our shells a little bit. We're starting to interact with others a little bit. And so spring equinox is a very healing time, and it is also a very busy time. So the fact that we are all going through this growth period at this time when it's a very busy, it's a yang time, the yin season. So if you don't already have, I actually have the planetary planners are on extra sale for March because we are moving into the next season, and I really want to get these out to you guys. So I forget how much they are now, but go into my website. If you put in the promo code, which I'll post below, I think it's springing, it's 35% off planners and all the crystal healing high vibe crystals that I have that have been supercharged out here in the woods and the sun and the salts and all of that. So if you're interested in either of those things, this planner was very much looking at the astrology of the upcoming year and recognizing that we all needed to have really strong clarity and vision for our future together, okay? And so the yin seasons are fall and winter, and the yang seasons are spring and summer. And now at a very yang season, we're starting it off by slowing down. We're starting it off in a very feminine way of pausing and feeling and being. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And so I wanted to pull up the chart to get an idea of how to guide us all through the springtime and how to stay positive when there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. And I just want to remind you guys, when there is a lot of this heightened fear, how you will have, especially if you're more empathic, but even if you're not, you'll have thoughts come into your zone that are not yours. They are not yours. They have been planted there. They have been, someone's GMO seeds have managed to find their way into your temple. And it's your job to find and destroy and clear those out of your system. These fear seeds are part of the collective, and they are also part of this old DNA thinking that has kept us feeling really trapped and really isolated. And I'm not going to go into Saturn in Aquarius. I do have a YouTube video about that if you want to look for that. I'm just talking about information, and it's a really interesting time astrologically because we're wrapping up, we're ending a cycle of self-nurturing, moving away from group thinking and really systems that aren't serving us, and moving into how do we self-nurture and nurture the community and nurture each other. We're coming into a time where we're wanting to hear from the divine feminine because we've recognized that we have totally destroyed that inner voice within us, but also those of us in our culture that have a strong connection to that divine feminine, we've minimized, we've kept resources away from, and we have isolated and secluded. And so now is the time to bring that back together And what you might notice is within even family systems, but also within your own being, you'll hear that masculine voice of, oh, this is what we need to do. We need to build a wall around our land, and we need to protect our resources. We need to do this and that. You might hear that. That isn't necessarily you. And you also might hear this very soothing voice that's telling you, it's all gonna be okay. We need to stay calm. We need to anchor into Mama Earth, and we need to stay strong for her, but more importantly for our children and for our community. And I know that I was very aware yesterday going out in the world of how I wanted to nurture the cashiers, how I wanted to put their minds at ease, because how much fear is coming through their lines, how much fear is being put onto them. And it's really important, just like how the spread of disease can multiply out, so can the spread of hate and fear and also shame, you know? And so at this time more than ever, it's really being aware of what you want to amplify. And I talked about, I also have on my YouTube, because I have a lot of resources in it. It's like, if you're interested, you'll find them. Just if you are on my YouTube, I have a whole 40-minute meditation and visualization on the Divine Feminine and how we choose. I'm getting emotional. There's a lot put on the feminine, and we choose what we amplify from that. And we can choose to amplify a lot of fear, or we can choose to amplify a lot of love. And it really is a choice. But if we aren't cognizant and we're just being programmed to believe a lot of things that aren't true, we're going to amplify just more fear. And so it's really important this time to really anchor into love and trust. And so, hi Megan, how are you? Yeah, so that's really important at this time. If you're watching, I can't see who's on here unless you comment. If you can just say hi to me, that would be really great, so I know who's here sharing in this positivity of the spring equinox. And so let's look at the astrology for the spring equinox. So important to be using the tools that you know can just raise your vibration. Drinking water. All these people going out to the grocery store worried about having enough food might forget that you can go a long time without a lot of things, but you need water, right? Essential oils. I made this at the full moon. I'm so glad I made this. It's got fluorite, which is, I do want to do a whole separate video on calming stones and calming oils, but I'm not going to do that here. But this has fluorite in it. It also has peppermint, which helps keep things moving, like in the chakra, especially the crown chakra right now, guys. Something I was talking to my client today, or a client that I work with today, was if we're just focusing on the information and kind of like what we're getting from the collective consciousness, it's very ungrounding. And so clearing the crown, but also really tapping into our roots and bringing up that energy. So we want to have an upward experience instead of dropping down from the sky, like what's going on today, and checking the news. It's like, how about instead we go outside and like ask nature what's going on with it. It's spring equinox. Happy spring equinox. Kristen and Megan, thank you so much for being here and saying hi. So spring equinox, I want to talk about the astrology. So yeah, using the things you know, simple things like getting enough sleep. How many of you guys are staying up worrying and reading things that you shouldn't be reading? Sleep is so important for your immune system right now. Also, your screens are letting off a lot of electromagnetic things that aren't always good for you. So getting breaks from your screens, getting fresh air. These are very basic things that if you're in a heightened state of fear, you're going to forget. Okay, so the chart for spring equinox, I was trying to figure out how to share my screen and I can't do that, but I will post the picture of the chart for spring equinox. And the main thing to be aware of, you guys, is as soon as the sun moves into Aries, it is going to conjunct, which means come right next to. And the sun, as I said, is our life-giving force. It's our conscious awareness and our connection to spirit. And so when that sun comes up into Aries, the first thing it's going to do is hit Chiron and Black Moon Lilith, okay? Both of these. And one of these is the feminine that has been forced to leave society, that has been shunned, that has been called a lot of nasty names, and not been welcomed into not only society, but also the feminine form. So feminine bodies have shunned her as well. And she is the powerful feminine. She is the all-seeing, all-knowing, deep healing element of that divine feminine. And so she is a part of this spring equinox very strongly. And so really paying attention and trying to listen to what she has to say, because she has things to say about her anger and her repression and how that has caused all of us suffering, because we have separated from that source of the feminine leadership and the feminine power. The other element to the spring equinox is that the sun is conjuncting the wounded healer, Chiron. And Chiron, the wounded healer, has its wounding, but it also has its healing. So it is not a surprise that we, as a collective people, are experiencing lots of hurt right now, and lots of fear, and lots of shifts and changes to our identity, because Aries is our identity, and Aries is our ability to move forward. And so right now, that's on pause. A lot of where we used to move forward is being shifted and kind of put into a different place. So Aries is the sign that we are moving into. The sun just is moving into Aries at 8:43, 8:49 tonight, okay? And that is the spring equinox. Every time the sun moves into Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, or Libra, we have a shift in seasons. And so with this shift, it is a very much a warrior mentality around strength and around the power of the sun, and feeling that and being courageous with that. This spring equinox is also squaring the nodes of the moon. It's squaring the north node and it's squaring the south node of the moon. With this square comes our past and our future. And our past has been very much tied to a system that has oppressed a lot of people. And surprisingly or not surprisingly, who it's oppressed a lot as the people that thought that they would profit the most from that oppression. So we are all connected, right? And some of us are more aware of this than others, but we are all connected. So when we're seeking to oppress others, what actually happens is kind of like that thing saying, like, when you point your finger, there's 3 fingers pointing at yourself. We are damaging ourselves more by oppressing others. And so really something to pay attention at this time is where your thoughts are going and the fears that are coming up, and how we can get into a very old patriarchal thinking about protecting what we have and making sure that we have enough. And as soon as we tip out of that and we go into more of the Cancerian, like the ocean, we're all connected, just different molecules floating in the ocean. And you come outside of yourself and you think about another, or you think about checking in on someone, or you think about maybe sharing something you have, you're doing the healing work that we're being asked to do at this time. So North Node in Cancer is our Dharma, where we're being asked to go. And the South Node in Capricorn is what we're being asked to leave behind. So we are being asked to leave behind a whole system that has oppressed a lot of people. Now, with that, know that this is the last piece of this cycle. So this spring equinox happens, and the lunar cycle that we've been in, so like the lunar nodes have been in Cancer Capricorn for almost 18 months. And when we get to the summer solstice, they are going to shift into the North Node being in Gemini, okay? The North Node in Gemini, do you guys know what that's all about? The North Node in Gemini is not looking at the whole world. It's not feeling deeply for the whole world. It's looking at your neighborhood, it's looking at your city, and knowing that when you tend and care for your city and you care for each other, that is spreading more of that energy into all of the cities around the world. Not thinking that we have to change the world, but thinking about the people in our community and how we can take care of each other. And not only take care of each other, but like have fun with each other. I'm seeing all sorts of posts about, I saw one of my favorites was a friend who posted bingo that they had on each one of the corners of their neighborhood. So like where four corners meet, they had someone on each one of the corners, and they were all playing bingo and just like shouting out what was coming up. And it was just so heartwarming, because it's like, how can we connect in with our community a little bit more, where we have gotten separated and now it's time to come back in and do the healing work. And what we're asked to be left behind is this idea that we need to know exactly what's happening on other places of the planet. And when I say that, it's like, it's not to say that we shouldn't care, it's that we shouldn't try to be thinking so much globally. And what is that? Like act locally, think globally, act locally. It's like really thinking about how to make those individual neighborhoods and cities work in a more effective way. So that's the cycle we're moving into. We're not there yet. We're going to be there in June. Right now, the spring equinox, we are in this very last stage of Cancer, which is nurturing the children. Please stop putting all of your unconscious stress onto your children. If you're feeling stressed, get outside. If you're feeling stressed, go take a bath, take a time out. But there's a lot of fear right now going on to the kids, and I really know how impossible it is to keep that all from the children. But the more you're aware that we are the adults and we want to let them be children, and really, if they get behind in their math, is that more important than the stress that they're taking on from not being exactly where they're supposed to be with that kind of thing. So just really being aware of what they need to stay healthy here and in their whole bodies and in their whole spiritual space. So, I would say that that's most important. This is such a great opportunity. We were doing a sing-along the other day and just like really just having fun together again. Like with all of these other stressors, sure, there's a lot of stress on us now, but like all of these being away from our families, being out in the world, go, all of the things that we were avoiding connection with our families, we're being forced to do, and connecting with ourselves. So it's a really great time to nurture ourselves and find ways to just focus on one day at a time and nurture ourselves so that we can move forward in the best way possible for our children. Okay, and then the other thing that I want to mention, so we have that sun squaring the nodes, and then over on the opposite sign, we have Libra, and we have Juno and Libra. And so this is, I love you too, Louise. Thanks for being here. Juno and Libra is a lot about the system of marriage, the system of partnership. And so, hey, who's feeling it more? I'm over here all alone, and that sucks. But I was with my married couple friends the other day, and I looked at them and I'm like, well, geez, you're making me really, really glad that I'm out there alone at my yurt, because it's stressful. And who's getting the brunt of the stress, right? Partnership. But it's also about recommitting to your partner. So if you are in a partnership, really doing a lot of recognizing the strengths that your partner can bring, and looking at what you need nurturing on. So this is a great time. I started doing family meetings with me and my kids, just to check in about stuff. Like, here's what's happening now, and this is what might be happening tomorrow. Like, we might have a plan with someone, but they might decide like that actually doesn't work for them, even if we're outside, you know? These are the things that might be coming up. And because of that, I'm going to let you guys have a lot more freedom, you know, but the same thing in couples is just checking in with each other. Like, what do you need? You know, well, I need you to stop telling me what you're reading about in the news, you know, like, what do you need from me? And here's what I need from you. And here's how we can work together on this. So Juno is really, really present in this makeup. And it was funny. I actually ran into a friend yesterday on the trail, and I was saying hi, and she was with a new person, and she's like, yeah, this quarantine is really, we're quarantining together. I'm like, oh, you quarantined up? And she was like, yeah, this is really doing a great thing for monogamy, because I mean, it is really helping us to see like there is benefit in just having one partner. So it's interesting having Juno a part of this, and I think we're really learning about how we can work together in partnership. And then there's also a piece of this where we can see how the system of law, like laws can be enacted that can really help us. And so that's really interesting too, because I just heard about a new thing that's coming through for financial assistance for those, like so many of us that have been missing work, or people have been canceling, or different things are happening. So it's also like looking at how we can benefit from certain things within the law. Okay. And then also, you guys, I'm going to talk about 5G for just a minute, even though I talked about it a lot in my Saturn and Aquarius video. But here's the deal. Here is the deal. We are the government. We are. The people are. The people are the government. And so if we don't want something, we really have to advocate for that. And that's also what's being called upon us, is like, we can't just sit at home and watch Netflix. I know it feels really comfortable. I know it's such a relief to be told that that's what you should do. But what happens to the people that do that? What do they become, right? They become sheep, and we can't become sheep. We cannot let ourselves become sheep, okay? So yes, social isolation at this time is important. And what is also important is really staying in our brains and staying in our conscious thinking. Like, what are the companies that are doing really well with this? I was posting something on YouTube, and who's the commercial that's on there? For Verizon getting 5G, and get your new phone because it's 5G applicable. And, you know, something that not many people are talking about are the health implications for 5G and all of these satellites and what they're doing to our systems and how they are messing with our natural rhythms, how they mess with nature. What are they going to do to our trees? Are we even going to have trees? Everybody's talking about what a relief it is to get out in nature. But if we want to keep that healthy, that requires all of us to get involved. And so I just want to remind you at this time, sorry, my screen got really dark. If you're on here and I haven't said hello, say hello. Hi, Cynthia. Please type it in the chat and say hi, or you can wish me a happy equinox. That would be so nice. So really important for us to be all involved in our legal system right now, right? So that's another part of this. And then we have a lot of stuff for this chart in the 4th house, which is a lot of people are home. A lot of people are home. And so because of that, we're really needing to think about our homes differently and think about how we want to organize things differently. Maybe we want some books. Maybe we want to, spend some time working with our hands and on crafting and that kind of thing. So it's really interesting to have that all 4th house for the spring equinox chart. And the sun and Chiron and Black Moon Lilith are all in the 6th house, which is day-to-day work and routines. So hi, Donna. How are you? So our day-to-day work and routines are at home, right? So that's all happening. And really a lot of this is that the interactions that we have with the people closest to us. Again, duh, but really being aware of how important a phone call can be, how nice it can be to just check in on somebody, how nice it can be to, FaceTime with your loved ones, and also for kids to be able to do that, like with their friends. So all of that is very important at this time. I do want to talk about then the summer solstice. So this is the spring equinox. So like, it doesn't look like that's pretty much the set tone for spring. Getting outside, working from home. Then when we get to summer, we have a little bit more freedom, but we still have some home time. So one of the things to be aware of is that we will have planets going retrograde. We're coming into retrograde season. And we're going to learn a lot. There's going to be a lot of learning that happens closer to the summer of things unfolding in ways and recognizing patterns that we've been in that are not healthy, and really doing a lot of learning about each other and learning about ourselves. And so there's a lot of that potential coming into summer. And another thing that's happening is we have those retrogrades I talked about, and then we'll have a Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So we had the North Node, I was just talking about the North Node moving through Cancer. At the summer solstice, the North Node will have moved into Gemini, very freshly into Gemini. But it's interesting to me that Mercury, our processing, is going over that area where we had the North Node, and just like really integrating that new freshness that we're just like all learning about, these new ways to tend to ourselves and be more nurturing to each other. And Mercury's gonna retrograde and help us process all that. And lastly, I'll just say about summer solstice is that we have that North Node moving into an air sign, right? Into Gemini. And we also have Saturn in Aquarius. So we have a lot of air and a lot of, that's information, that's intellect, that's like thinking for ourselves, but also maybe other people trying to come in there and mess with our thinking. So you guys just want to be aware of meditation. Meditation is like literally the best way to clear everybody else out of your head. Like, get them all out of your head. They don't belong there. It's just for you. It's for you. This is how we progressed as a society, as free thinkers, thinking for ourselves. And that is all a little bit going to be coming into question. And so I really encourage you to meditate. I really encourage you to join me. I'm doing a 14-week journey, which is integrating the divine feminine archetypes and astrology with your own chart, with your own healing process. And it will go from April 22nd to July 20th. It goes till the Cancer new moon. So it's new moon to new moon. And I'm keeping it at a really low rate. I was doing it like for more, and I lowered the rate at a special limited time. And I just decided I really want you guys in there. So for 14 weeks, I don't know exactly what the cost is, but it's $3 something. And so I really want to have a strong group of women. You don't have to be women, but you identify with the divine feminine in that journey with me, alongside of me, growing community together, so that we can all come into our power more and come into our divine feminine more, which is what we're being asked to do at this time. It needs to happen. This is Mama Earth saying, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to go well. So let's do this, huh? So one other thing I was going to tell you guys, and then I have to go. I am doing mini readings at this time for Saturn's transit into Aquarius. They're 25, and I'll post the link below. And they're recorded readings that look at your chart and this journey that we're in for the next 2.5 years with Saturn moving into Aquarius. Okay. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here and just like for sharing your light and love in general. And just, I really have a lot of gratitude for the people that are holding it together and holding it down right now. Keep it up. You're doing amazing. I'm really proud of you. See you guys later. Bye.